think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think we're on the rise.
As you stand on the headland looking towards Heysham Harbour, the ground sloped down with grass, and then you could see in the sort of middle distance between the grass and the sea there was a patch of beach. On the left was like a miniature bandstand, that was the gun emplacement, and running at the bottom of the grass was this 2 rows of barbed wire. We were playing football quite happily. We didn't know actually it was supposed to be a minefield, because there might have been signs but we didn't see them. Anyway, next minute these soldiers come out and grabbed us, and one, who I realised must have been a sergeant, swore at us and said, "You're playing on our minefield." And it didn't mean anything to us. Anyway, they hoiked us up to the gun emplacement. We sat there and looking at this gun, and it was a telegraph pole. I was only 9 or 10, but having seen all these war films, I knew what was a gun and I knew what was a trunk of a tree. Anyway, the policeman came, took us home, and Mum did her nut, showing us up in front of the neighbours, having the police come into the house. There was a way into Heysham Head by going right down towards the sand, coming up by what was the gun emplacement, climbing over the back of that. You could have come into some trees and then get in free. The coach appeared at St Mary's once and took us to the Palladium cinema where we saw Bambi, and that instilled into me my horror of hunting. And then later, must have been the same year, because another coach appeared and took us to the Odeon where we saw The Wizard of Oz. When I was an apprentice, I started working long hours and cycling from Heysham to Lancel and back again. I was the first out of the house and last back. Saturday afternoon was the only free time because I worked Sundays. Yeah. So there was very little time apart from evenings, so I'd either go to the cinema. Yeah. It was either cinema or dancing. When Mum could afford to get the battery charged, we would listen to Variety Bandbox every Sunday. Albert Modley came down Tunstall Street and he found about 6 or 7 of us playing in the street, and he got us some empty biscuit tins with a piece of string round our neck and some twigs or sticks, and Geoffrey had the biggest box, and we came on in front of Albert Modley playing these drums, and Geoffrey's clogs were actually mine because everything was passed down in those days. And as Geoffrey took 2 paces forward, he left a clog and he came back from it. This had the audience in hoops, and Albert Modley actually, instead of being straight-faced, he was laughing his head off. If you wanted to get into the central pier, you right at the very end where the boats used to come, there was, in the ironwork, there was a lower deck, so you could go downstairs and there was this ironwork. Well, if you crawled up there and crawled up the outside, you could actually get in for nothing. The bloke who used to run the turnstiles, because we didn't go out that the same way, we used to go out through the turnstiles, and he used to look at us, and I can remember thinking I never saw them come in. The Odeon was dead easy because the entrance was at the front, our freeway was at the back. So you come round the back, toilet window, opened the fire doors, you got in, because the usherette was at the front end. Football matches, they were dead easy, never paid to go to watch a football match. I should imagine a quarter of the people who got it didn't pay. The directors of Morecambe Football Club, if they got off their backsides and out of their nice seats, out of the rain, and started counting the number of spectators, they would have had a closer look at the taking. Because I can't remember any of my friends ever paying to go in anywhere. We paid to go in dancing. There was a children's night on Friday night and we went dancing. by hook or by crook we'd get the sixpence or ninepence to get in. And from one of the dancing partners I then went to Old Time and Modern Sequence at the Winter Gardens. That was every Saturday night. Later on I then started dancing at the Floral Hall. The working class went to the Floral Hall, the middle class went to the pier, the grammar school boys and girls went to the pier, but us lower beings went to the Floral Hall. During the war in 1940s, if we wanted to go to the cinema and there was no way that we could get in free, then we would go round the houses and ask them, have they got any jam jars or pop bottles? Pop bottles, I think we got tuppence. Jam jars, we got a halfpenny. But for big jam jars, we got a penny. And another ruse we had was we would go outside the cinema and ask people going in there, say, have you got 2 halfpennies for a penny, please? And often the lady would say, yes, here's 2 halfpennies. Keep the penny. And by the time we got sixpence, one could get in and then straight down to the toilet, open the fire doors or open the toilet windows, hook the other one in, keeping an eye on the usherette, and she was keeping an eye on us. The cinema Saturday mornings was the highlight of the week. I think it was sixpence to get in. On your birthday you got through the post a free entry card. Boys and girls were strictly segregated, not by parents. Boys did not play with girls. They didn't know how to ride a horse up and down the aisles. All the cowboy films were spoilt by Roy Rogers or Gene Autry kissing this bally woman who was in every single film. Anyway, you soon started to say, I'm having nothing to do with these rubbishy females. It wasn't till I was 16 or 17 I realised that girls did have a use. All the years I wasted, but I soon caught up. We sneaked in the Tower Cinema, Gormott as it was later. You could get in there. Now that was barbed wire, but we could always find a way of getting, no matter how clever they were at putting the barbed wire, we found a way to get around it. Streetwise, we call it now.